What's up and welcome to PJ Talks. I'm John, the host, and today we are on episode 3, right? Yeah, episode 3 of our triggered series of how should a Christian handle offenses. Our first week, we kind of dove into what I call the age of offense. Man, everyone's offended about everything, and how are we as Christians, are we allowed to be offended? And then last week, we kind of went over how words can wound, how just your tongue has the power to either destroy or lift up, and we as Christians, how are we to use this tongue? This week, we are going to be diving into a much needed ability that Christians should have, which is the art of overlooking an offense. Overlooking an offense overlooking offense doesn't mean pretending it didn't happen or ignoring sin. It means making a deliberate choice to refuse to let hurt control your heart. All right, this is where wisdom, patience, and spiritual maturity intersect. That is what we're diving today on PJ Talks. Proverbs 19:11 reminds us that it is wisdom that shows that wisdom yields patience, and it is our glory to overlook an offense. Let's kind of dive into Proverbs 19:11 and see how does a normal Christian, how do they apply that to their lives? So again, Proverbs 19:11 says, "Good sense makes one slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook an offense." You see, overlooking is an act of strength, not a weakness. It is the refusal to let every offense dictate your emotions or reactions. The reality is that overlooking protects relationships and your own peace. Think about someone cutting you off in traffic, right? You could honk, you could stew, or you could choose to overlook it. The difference is how much peace are you going to bring home after? Okay, maybe a coworker upset you. They didn't complete their job, so you have to cover for them. Or maybe they made a joke about you and made everyone laugh, but it kind of hurt your feelings. I know everyone's kind of experienced that. You could sit there and you could stew on it, dwelling about how it hurt you, seeing all the different routes that you could take, and that you can slam blast them back and point out all the flaws they have and try to undermine them or poke them back. Or you could show the Christian love that believes all things and hopes all things and choose to take it as just as what maybe they have intended, which was a joke. All right, overlooking is choosing peace instead of pride. I'm going to say that again. Overlooking is choosing peace over pride. Look with me in Luke chapter 23, verse 34, because here we have Jesus is the perfect model of overlooking this offense. It says, this is where he's literally hanging on the cross. And he says, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." I've said this in all my other episodes. Jesus was falsely accused. He was mocked. He was beaten, and yet he forgave. He knew their true intent. He knew that they genuinely meant to upset him. They meant to murder him. They meant to accuse him falsely. He knew everything. They knew their heart's intentions. And what I've written down, what's beautiful is Jesus exemplified love when he forgave. Love saw the best in them and saw that they truly didn't understand what they were doing, so it chose to forgive. That is overlooking an offense. Overlooking is modeled in the life of Christ, responding in grace rather than retaliation. Offense becomes a training ground for spiritual truth when we respond like Jesus. So, identify one situation this week where you could feel offended and ask, man, how would Jesus respond here? How would Jesus respond with this coworker that made a joke about me? How would Jesus respond to your friend who maybe belittled you, right? What about the friend who bailed you, right, or bailed on you? Okay, what about the boy? What about the boy or girl you've been texting that all of a sudden they just started ghosting you? Are you going to stew on it, and are you going to maybe talk trash about them to your friends? Yeah, I just need somewhere to vent. I just need to know, are you hurt? Are you turning it into bitterness? Or are you going to respond as Jesus would and forgive them? Overlooking is less about them and more about reflecting Christ. Or look with me in Hebrews 12:15, because now we need to go into how do we practice overlooking. Hebrews 12:15 says, "See to it that no one fails to obtain the grace of God, that no root of bitterness springs up and causes trouble, and by it, many become defiled. We need to recognize early signs of bitterness. So right here, I have written down a powerful early warning sign of bitterness is when you start replaying an offense in your mind. When you start replaying it and it keeps coming up and you're like, man, that really hurt, and you dwell on it, and here you replay it, especially when it brings fresh irritation, anger, or self-pity each time you think about it. That is a huge warning sign of, hey, you might be bitter against this. This is an early sign of bitterness taking root. This mental replay button is often the first indicator that hurt has begun to harden into resentment. Here are a few early signs of bitterness may be taking root. You see a loss of joy when you see someone succeed, especially when it's the person who hurt you. And all of a sudden something good happens to them, and you're kind of like, I wish that wouldn't have happened. That's an early sign of bitterness. Coldness or withdrawal toward people or situations that remind you of the offense. All of a sudden you start kind of blocking them, start becoming cold to them, not really caring what happens to them. You become cold and withdrawing from them. Maybe subtle sarcasm or cynicism in your tone when talking about certain people. I love sarcasm. Oh, my soul. It is one of my spiritual gifts. It is definitely one of my love languages. I use it all the time. But this type of subtle sarcasm or cynicism is truly, even when it is not joking, it is not helpful in any sort of way, you're truly just using sarcasm to just get away with being a jerk. When that sarcasm comes up, when you're just saying things just to be a jerk, bitterness is taking root. You need to watch out. And then here's a big one, difficulty praying for someone without negative feelings rising up. Can you pray for them? Can you actively go before God and bring this person's name without saying, Lord, I pray you just hurt them. Lord, I pray you just take vengeance. Father, don't pray. Jesus didn't do that. Literally, did Jesus do that? He was on the cross hanging. He didn't say, Father, I pray that once I die that you allow me to come back and send all these people to hell where they belong. No. He goes, Father, forgive them. Forgive them because they don't even know what they're doing. And then the next sign of early warning sign of bitterness is justifying your lack of forgiveness by saying, man, I'm just protecting myself. Justifying a lack of forgiveness is unexcusable for a Christian. Forgive as Christ has forgiven you. Man, in any regard, this lack of forgiveness is you relying on your pride. So choose to forgive internally, even if confrontation or accountability is necessary externally. If someone upset you, go to that person. Y'all, my soul. Go to that person who upset you. If you can't get over it, don't spread it. Don't talk down about them. Bring it to God. And if you can't get over it with him, with God, then go to that person and say, hey, you upset me when you did this. I don't understand our culture today where we can't just go to people and say, hey, you upset me. It's so much more freeing. And instead of holding on to this bitterness and hurt, it's just going to someone and saying, man, hey, you hurt me about this. I want to reconcile this relationship, but I have to confront you first. You have to have these awkward conversations. This will bring peace to the confrontation. Okay, when you go before someone with this pre-forgiveness, that's something that's important too. You go to God and you say, Lord, help me forgive this person. I'm hurt about them. And then let's say 2 or 3 days go by and you're still just dwelling on it. Okay, it still keeps bringing up, and maybe that's the Holy Spirit saying, hey, you need to go talk to this person. So then you go and talk to them, but really you haven't truly forgiven them yet. So you go at them and you're just attacking them. You were wrong, this and this and this and this, and all your emotions are spewing out, but there's no peace coming off your tongue. There's fire, but you're causing a forest fire rather than a controlled fire, if that makes sense. Man, don't go to someone without already forgiving them. Go to someone with this pre-forgiveness of, hey, no matter what outcome happens here, let's say we go to that coworker again who made a joke about us and it hurt our feelings. We go to that coworker and we say, hey, look, you hurt my feelings when you made fun of me here, here, and here. I feel like it was a genuine attack. And they say, no, it wasn't, but you just need to get over yourself. Okay. I don't feel like you're right. And it's processing okay, look, no matter what outcome, no matter what this person says, I'm choosing to forgive because Christ has forgiven me. Man, when you do that, this is going to bring this peace to the confrontation externally. Develop a spiritual habit of seeking God first instead of reacting impulsively. When you're offended, pause, pray, and release the situation to God before responding. I've written down here, wisdom yields patience. Patience yields peace. Munch on it. Pray on it. Don't react immediately out of emotion. Be offended. Take it to God. If God hasn't let you get over it in like 2 or 3 days of you genuinely praying to God, Lord, I want to forgive this person. Father, allow this to come removed from my mind. Lord, and it is that effectual, fervent prayer. If you're doing that and it's still not leaving your mind, go to the person lovingly with this pre-forgiveness of, man, no matter what happens. Let's say this person never says sorry. Let's say they never, say that their response, their emotions, their act of whatever they did offended you. What if they never say that they were wrong for it? Can I still forgive them? If you can't, that's a you problem. Christ says you need to forgive others the way he has forgiven you, and no matter what you do, he has already loved you and forgiven you. So, wisdom yields patience, patience yields peace. Let's recap. Overlooking offense is a conscious, God-honoring choice. Jesus modeled this perfectly, right? Practicing this protects your heart and relationships. So this week, identify one area where you feel hurt and ask God to give you the wisdom to overlook it. Again, in James 4, I think it is, of whoever asks of wisdom, ask him of God, and God will give it unreservingly to you. Man, Lord, give me the wisdom to overlook this offense. Father, give me the courage to lovingly confront this person and tell them how I'm feeling. Lord, protect my tongue so I do not spread gossip, so that I do not spread this hurt amongst other people and taint this person's image. Lord, allow me to go to this person individually. So next week, we're going to wrap up our series with reconciliation. Okay, reconciliation is the stronger move. So we're going to learn how to restore relationships without holding on to offense. Thank you again so much for listening to PJ Talks. This is John. I'll see you next week. Peace out.